The National Electrical Code, or NEC, addresses the installation of power and communication circuits within poles, such as those supporting lighting and automatic vehicle identification, or AV readers. Section 410.15b specifically deals with using metal poles as raceways. This section requires maintaining separation between power wiring and communication, signaling, and power-limited circuits installed within the pole. The NEC handbook clarifies that if a light pole supports both a luminaire and a security camera, the signaling and power-limited wiring for the security camera can be installed within the pole cavity. To achieve the required separation, especially when the pole already contains open-circuit conductors like THW or XHHW conductors supplying the luminaire, the camera conductors must be enclosed within a flexible raceway. This flexible raceway is then installed within the pole. An alternative approach is using an approved cable or cord assembly for the lighting circuit conductors. The NEC handbook suggests that using a cable or cord assembly for the lighting circuit conductors is an optional choice. If a 120-volt lighting circuit is run using an approved cable, no raceway separation is necessarily required. The approved cable inherently provides the necessary separation. However, it is crucial to support the conductors according to NEC 300.19, which specifies requirements for vertical raceways. In essence, even when using an approved cable, the conductors must be properly supported within the pole. A flexible raceway can serve this purpose, ensuring adequate support and physical protection for the conductors. In summary, two primary methods exist for installing power and communication circuits within poles. Firstly, if open-circuit conductors are used for the lighting circuit, enclose the communication and signaling circuits within a flexible raceway inside the pole to maintain separation. Secondly, if an approved cable or cord assembly is used for the lighting circuit, raceway separation is not strictly required, but proper conductor support per NEC 300.19 is still mandatory. Using a flexible raceway for support is an acceptable method. Let's elaborate on the specific requirements and considerations for each approach. When using open-circuit conductors, such as THW or XHHW, for the 480-volt lighting circuit, the separation requirements outlined in NEC 410.15b must be rigorously followed. This typically involves physically separating the power conductors from the communication and signaling cables within the pole. Installing the communication and signaling cables within a flexible raceway provides this physical separation. The flexible raceway acts as a barrier, preventing potential interference or contact between the different types of circuits. The choice of flexible raceway material is important. It should be suitable for the environmental conditions within the pole, including temperature variations and potential moisture exposure. Metallic flexible conduit, such as liquid-tight flexible metal conduit, or LF&C, offers excellent mechanical protection and electromagnetic shielding. Non-metallic flexible conduit, such as liquid-tight flexible non-metallic conduit, or LF&C, is another option, providing corrosion resistance and flexibility. Regardless of the material chosen, the flexible raceway must be properly secured to the pole structure to prevent movement or strain on the conductors. The size of the flexible raceway should be adequate to accommodate the communication and signaling cables without overcrowding. Overcrowding can lead to insulation damage and overheating. NEC Chapter 9 contains tables that specify the allowable fill for conduits and raceways. When using an approved cable or cord assembly for the 120-volt lighting circuit, the separation requirements are relaxed because the cable itself provides a degree of insulation and protection. However, this does not eliminate the need for proper conductor support. NEC 300.19 mandates that conductors in vertical raceways be supported to prevent the weight of the conductors from placing undue stress on terminals or splices. This requirement applies equally to conductors within poles regardless of whether they are enclosed in a raceway or part of a cable assembly. Several methods can be used to support conductors within a pole. One common method is using cable ties or straps to secure the conductors to the pole structure at regular intervals. The spacing between support should be sufficient to prevent sagging or movement of the conductors. Another method is using cable support grips, which clamp onto the cable and provide a secure anchor point. These grips are typically attached to the pole structure using screws or bolts. If a flexible raceway is used for additional protection or organization, it can also serve as a support for the conductors. The conductors can be secured to the inside of the raceway using cable ties or straps. The raceway itself is then supported by attaching it to the pole structure. When installing conductors within a pole, it is essential to consider the potential for moisture accumulation. Moisture can damage insulation and cause corrosion of conductors and connections. To mitigate this risk, ensure that the pole is adequately sealed to prevent water from entering. If the pole is exposed to the elements, consider using a breather vent to allow moisture to escape while preventing water from entering. Additionally, use waterproof connectors and splices to protect connections from moisture damage. Grounding is another critical aspect of electrical safety. The metal pole must be properly grounded to provide a path for fault current to return to the source. This helps to prevent electric shock hazards and equipment damage in the event of a fault. The grounding conductor should be sized according to NEC 250.122, which specifies the minimum size of equipment grounding conductors based on the overcurrent protective device rating. The grounding conductor should be connected to a grounding electrode system, such as a ground rod or a building's grounding grid. All metal enclosures and equipment within the pole, including luminaires, AVI readers, and power supplies, must be bonded to the grounding system. Bonding ensures that all metal parts are at the same electrical potential, minimizing the risk of electric shock. In addition to the general requirements for power and communication circuits, certain specific considerations apply to lighting fixtures installed on poles. NEC 410 provides detailed requirements for luminaires, including mounting, wiring, and grounding. Luminaires must be securely mounted to the pole to prevent them from falling or becoming dislodged. The mounting method should be appropriate for the size and weight of the luminaire and the environmental conditions. Wiring to the luminaire must be protected from mechanical damage and moisture. Use approved wiring methods, such as conduit or cable, and ensure that all connections are properly made and insulated. The luminaire must be grounded to the pole's grounding system. This can be achieved by connecting the luminaire's grounding conductor to the pole's grounding terminal. For poles supporting AVI readers, additional considerations apply to the power supplies and communication cables. Power supplies for AVI readers typically operate at low voltage, such as 24 volts direct current. These power supplies must be power limited, meaning that they are designed to limit the amount of current that can flow in the event of a fault. Power limited power supplies are covered in NEC Chapter 9. The communication cables for AVI readers are typically low voltage, low energy cables such as Category 5E or Category 6 cables. These cables must be installed in accordance with NEC Article 800, which covers communication circuits. Communication cables should be separated from power conductors to prevent interference. This separation can be achieved by running the communication cables in a separate raceway or by using shielded cables. When installing power and communication circuits in poles, always follow the manufacturer's instructions for the equipment being installed. The manufacturer's instructions may provide additional details or requirements that are not covered in the NEC. Finally, remember that electrical work can be dangerous. Always take appropriate safety precautions when working with electricity. To energize circuits before working on them, use appropriate personal protective equipment, or PPE, and follow all applicable safety procedures. To recap, installing power and communication circuits within poles requires careful attention to detail and adherence to the NEC. Firstly, maintain separation between power wiring and communication circuits by using flexible raceways or approved cables. Secondly, support conductors properly according to NEC 300.19 regardless of whether they are enclosed in a raceway. Thirdly, ensure proper grounding of the pole and all equipment. Fourthly, protect against moisture accumulation. Fifthly, follow manufacturer's instructions. Sixthly, prioritize safety at all times. By following these guidelines, you can ensure a safe and code-compliant installation. Remember that the information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional electrical advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer for specific project requirements. The 2002 NEC Handbook passage highlights an accepted practice, but always refer to the latest edition of the NEC and local amendments for the most up-to-date requirements. Also, be aware that local jurisdictions may have additional requirements or interpretations of the NEC. It's crucial to check with the local electrical inspector to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Proper planning and execution are essential for a successful and safe installation. Take the time to carefully consider all aspects of the project from the initial design to the final inspection. A well-planned installation will not only meet code requirements but also provide reliable and long-lasting performance. Consider the environmental factors at the installation site, such as temperature extremes, humidity, and exposure to sunlight. These factors can affect the performance and lifespan of electrical components. Choose materials and equipment that are suitable for the specific environment. For example, if the pole is located in a corrosive environment, use corrosion-resistant materials for the raceways, enclosures, and connectors. If the pole is exposed to direct sunlight, use UV-resistant cables and enclosures. Proper documentation is also essential for any electrical installation. Keep accurate records of the wiring layout, equipment specifications, and inspection results. This documentation can be helpful for future maintenance and troubleshooting. It's also important to train personnel who will be working on or maintaining the electrical system. Ensure that they are familiar with the NEC requirements and safety procedures. Regular inspections and maintenance are crucial for ensuring the continued safety and reliability of the electrical system. Schedule regular inspections to identify and address any potential problems before they become serious. Perform routine maintenance tasks such as tightening connections, replacing damaged components, and cleaning equipment. By following these best practices, you can create a safe, reliable, and code-compliant electrical system for poles supporting lighting, AVI readers, and other equipment. Remember to always prioritize safety and consult with qualified professionals when needed.